What is up, YouTube? It is your boy NMR Sports here, coming back at you with another video. We are going to be talking about 2021 breakout campaigns we could see from certain MLB players, not necessarily like top prospects or anything, not necessarily established ball players or bounce back seasons. We can talk about that later if you want. But we're going to talk about players who maybe haven't been great or haven't had a great opportunity to succeed or have really good underlying sabermetrics, things like that, that tell us that they could be good next year. But maybe haven't shown it in the past. Now, if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We just hit 350 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. We're on the road to 400. Let's see if we can get to 500 subscribers by opening day. I started the channel in January. We've been growing so quickly, so thank you guys so much for that. I won't plug anything else, but if you want to see where I'm at on social media and stuff, it'll be in the description below. Now let's get right into the video and talk about some of these guys. Like I said, they're going to have breakout 2021s, at least in my opinion, and I'll show some stats to back that up. Now, the first player we're going to get in and talk about is Edwin Rios of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And now, obviously, Edwin Rios isn't going to be a starter for the Dodgers next year, but when you look at his stats in the small sample size he's been able to obtain with Justin Turner playing ahead of him and Corey Seager playing ahead of him at short and Max Muncy playing over him, all these guys who are playing over him, and they still have Gavin Lux in the minors. He's only been able to get these few plate appearances, but in 60 games played, he has a career OPS plus of 154, 100 being league average. 154 is amazing. He has a career OPS of 972. His batting average only about 260. His OBP is 338, which is above league average, and he's slugging 634, which is well above league average. So pretty much the only thing that I can see that's wrong with him is not getting enough of a sample size. He does have a lot of pull in his game. He doesn't hit to opposite field very well, so maybe they only want him to face righties. But honestly, I honestly would have been very comfortable with the Dodgers not going out and re-signing Justin Turner this year and having Edwin Rios be their starting third base. He's going to be an absolutely amazing bat to have on the bench, but he could be a starting third baseman and a good one at that for so many different teams. He could be one of the best power hitting bats in the league, but he doesn't have the sample size for it. Now, we do have a little bit information. In 2020, his splits versus lefties and righties were tracked. Let me just read them to you here. He had 19 plate appearances against left-handed pitchers, and he batted .313 with a 368 OBP and a 938 slugging percentage. 3 home runs, 4 RBIs, 2 walks. He only struck out 4 times in those 16 at-bats, 19 plate appearances. Versus righties, however, he had 60 at-bats, 64 plate appearances, hit for 233 average, 281 OBP, 567 slugging percentage. So he's actually better against left-handed pitching. So honestly, I don't see many holes in this guy's game. I really think he should be a starter. I don't know. It's hard to say because they have such a good lineup, but I would really like to see Edwin Rios starting for a Major League Baseball team. Now, next we're going to get in and talk about Bobby Dalbec. Now, Bobby Dalbec is the number 3 prospect for the, number three prospect in the Red Sox organization, who came up last year in 2020 and was pretty damn good. He only played in 23 games, had 92 plate appearances, and in those 92 plate appearances, he had 263, 359 OBP, 600 slugging percentage, which is all above league average, 959 OPS, and a 152 OPS plus, which is very, very good, especially for a rookie. He had 8 home runs in those 23 games, 21 hits, and he struck out 39 times. So the main issue in his game right now is those strikeouts, which is leading to that lower average there. But overall, for a rookie, he looked really good last year, and I really expect him to build on that next year. Now, he was second in the league among players who had at least 92 plate appearances in barrel percentage at about 22%. So he is barreling up the baseball like crazy. I even saw him in his first spring training at bat go with an absolute moonshot. So obviously spring training doesn't matter that much, but I do expect Bobby Dalbec to be a huge breakout star next year. And honestly, he could help lead that Red Sox team to fighting for maybe a wild card spot in the American League. So we're just gonna have to see. I'm pretty big on the Red Sox, but I'm very big on Bobby Dalbec. So I really hope he's able to succeed next year. And he looks very good, very poised to break out for us next year. Now, next we're gonna get in and talk about Sean Murphy. Now, Sean Murphy is a catching prospect for the Oakland A's. I don't think he really considered a prospect anymore because he played a full season last year, full season in quotation marks since it was only 60 games. But he's going to be a very good, solid standout catcher for years to come. In 2019, he came up and played 20 games with the Oakland A's. Posting a 138 OPS plus, an 899 OPS, slugging 566 with a 245 batting average and a 333 on base percentage. So that's pretty good, above average for sure. And then in 2020, in 43 games, he batted 233 with a 364 on base percentage, a 457 slugging percentage, an 821 OPS, and a 131 OPS plus. So he's about 31% better than league average, which is very good, especially for a young catching prospect. But I do think he could do better, and I think 2021, we're really going to see him start to break out. When you look at the advanced metrics, he is 91st percentile in exit velocity, 91st percentile in hard hit percentage. He's 69th percentile in expected WOBA, weighted on base percentage. He's 83rd in barrel percentage, which is really high. He's also 97th percentile in walk percentage, so he doesn't swing at balls very often. He's very good. He has a very good eye at the plate. His strikeout numbers are a little bit high, but his walk numbers are good as well, so it's not like he's just swinging away constantly. He has a pretty good eye to start. That's not something you see from rookies a lot either. The walks are usually really low to start out. Even guys like Mike Trout didn't used to walk a lot, but as they grow older and progress in the league, they get that eye. So he already has the eye there. He just kind of has to work on a few other things, get that batting average up a little bit and lower those strikeout numbers. And he could really be possibly the best catcher in baseball in a few years. I'd probably give him 2 or 3 years for that, but I think in 2021, we'll probably see him maybe go into like a top 5 catcher, which could be absolutely insane for those Oakland A's. So Sean Murphy, I do think, is a big candidate for a breakout next year. Now, the next 2 guys we're going to talk about are kind of established in the major leagues, but I do think we're going to see something that we haven't seen from them this year, and that is both of these guys potentially being MVP candidates. One of them a little too high on, but other one I do think is a pretty popular opinion that people could definitely see. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. lost a lot of weight this offseason. He looks a lot more athletic than he has in past years, and even if you look at his stats in past years at that heavier weight, he still has a very high exit velocity and hard hit percentage. He just hasn't been very good in other metrics like walk percentage, whip percentage, things like that. But at the end of the day, the thing I'm most impressed about is he does not really have a tendency. Like, I look at his spray chart here. I'll put it up on the screen. He really just kind of uses the whole field. He doesn't hit to one side. He doesn't favor one side really at all. I guess you could say a little bit to left field, but definitely not that much. He kind of likes to spread it around the field. Like I said, he has a very high exit velocity, and his strikeout percentage is pretty high, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. His strikeout percentage on Baseball Savant, his strikeout percentage basically means the higher it is, the less times you strike out. So I think Anthony Rendon's a good example. His strikeout percentage in the 90th percentile or whatever. So Vladimir Guerrero really isn't striking out that much. He definitely could be walking more, but I do like that his strikeout numbers are low. And since he lost all that weight and is going to be a little more athletic this year, I really think we could see a huge breakout campaign from him and finally see some of that potential that he had as a prospect. Now we're going to start moving over to the pitchers. What better way to make a hitting from hitting to pitching transition than talk about my man, Shohei Ohtani. Now, Shohei Ohtani looked amazing in 2018. His metrics in both hitting and pitching were absolutely lights out phenomenal. Obviously, 2019, he went down with injury and missed the whole season as a pitcher, but he was there hitting and still did pretty well. And then 2020 was just awful for him. He was coming off that surgery, so his pitching velocity wasn't really there, and I think his pitching kind of got in his head mentally when he was thinking about hitting. So his offensive power and his exit velocity and everything was there. He just wasn't really hitting for average, and that could have been eye at the plate. So I think he was just kind of mentally in a tough spot in 2020, like a lot of players were. But 2021, man, I think it's time to set our expectations at an all-time high for him. He's already been topping out at triple digits in spring training, which is absolutely phenomenal. When he was pitching in 2018, his analytics were absolutely incredible as a pitcher. He had one of the highest whiff rates we've ever seen. He was having 14-plus strikeout games. He was looking great. He'd be taking perfect games into the 7th inning, all sorts of different things, and he was hitting 20-plus home runs while doing all that. So I honestly think what I'm expecting from Shohei Ohtani, this is my actual reasonable expectation from a huge Shohei Ohtani fan. I'm expecting 25 home runs out of him, and I'm going to say at least 7 wins. Maybe 10 wins would be a good expectation, but I'm going to set it at 7. I think that's a little bit more reasonable. So 7 wins, maybe an ERA in the 3 to 4 range, and then those 25 home runs, I do think is something we could definitely expect from Shohei Ohtani next year. Does that translate to an MVP conversation? I honestly think it could. Even if he's a decent pitcher and a solid hitter, I really think that's a lot more valuable than one solid hitter. If you have a guy who's pitching for you at a good level and hitting for you at a solid level, that to me makes him an MVP candidate. So Do I think Shohei Ohtani is going to be the best hitter in baseball? No. Do I think he's going to be the best pitcher in baseball? No. But the fact that he can do both of those at a decent level really makes me think he could be an MVP candidate this year. Now, the next player we're going to talk about is a starting pitcher, a very young starting pitcher, I might add, for the Cleveland Indians. He is going into his age 23 season. That is Triston McKenzie. Now, Triston McKenzie came up and had a stud performance in his major league debut. He ended up with a 90th percentile in strikeout percentage, a 69th percentile in walk percentage, so that's a little bit high. His exit velo is about 87th percentile, so a lot of people are hitting the ball hard off him once again. Now, his fastball velocity is about league average. His fastball spin rate slightly above. I just think overall, he seems like a very good dominant pitcher. Who's going to get a lot of strikeouts, maybe have a little bit high of an ERA in the upper threes or the low fours. But at the end of the day, I'm very hyped on Triston McKenzie. I could see him being a breakout stud next year, especially in that Cleveland baseball team, whatever you want to call them, rotation. It's going to be very interesting to see. Their rotation is going to be so solid next year between him, Shane Bieber, Zach Plesac, Aaron Savale. I thought about throwing Aaron Savale in here as well. But Triston McKenzie, I'm a little bit more confident in just because he throws a little bit harder and he's a little bit younger as well. So Triston McKenzie, definitely a guy to look out for next year. Like, he's got electric stuff, and I love his attitude and his presence on the mound and everything. Now, our second to last pitcher we're going to get into is the newly acquired Rays starting pitcher. That is Luis Patino. Now, Luis Patino looks ridiculous as a prospect, and the Rays are just so good at developing pitching talent, kind of like how they got Tyler Glasnow over from the Pirates. Now they get Luis Patino over from the San Diego Padres. So honestly, knowing the Rays, this guy's probably going to be a Cy Young candidate next year. I've said it 1,000 times. I keep saying it. I expect huge things from him, if I'm being honest. He wasn't amazing with the Rays last year in 2020. None of his stats, especially on Baseball Savant, like we've been looking at, really stand out. Expecting batting average actually pretty good at about 89th percentile, and his fastball velocity is crazy good, as well as his fastball spin rate. Other than that, everything's about league average, but honestly, the Rays see two stats like that in the 98th percentile, and they're ready to go. They're ready to turn him into the best pitcher. Who knows? Maybe he'll even be their ace, better than Tyler Glasnow next year. We're just gonna have to wait and see. They have a lot of young talent over there in Tampa, and I think Luis Patino is gonna be one of the leaders in that clubhouse for years to come. And the last pitcher on our list today is going to be Brusdar Graterol. Now, Brusdar Graterol has already had amazing stuff, and we all know he's a good pitcher. But next year, I'm expecting him to have an absolutely just lights out year, phenomenal year. Like, maybe not Wade Davis in 2014 tier, or Wade Davis in 2015, I think was the year they had like a 0 ERA or whatever. But my God, is he going to be lights out for years to come. He's probably going to be the next best closer in baseball for a few years, kind of carrying on the torch from Aroldis Chapman or Craig Kimbrell kind of type. His fastball velocity is 98 miles per hour on average. His sinker is 99 miles per hour on average. And then throw in the fact that he's got an 89 mile per hour slider that is absolutely filthy. He's got some speed differentials. He's got good location. And just as a reliever, he's going to be perfect. I know he's projected as a starter at one point, which is why the Red Sox didn't want him. But my God, was he lights out for the Dodgers last year. He still had an ERA in the threes or whatever. But I think you could honestly see him have a sub-2 ERA for years to come. And just absolutely dominate opposing players. And he has a great defense behind him. He's got a great lineup behind him. I think he's going to be the dominant closer that the Dodgers are going to need for many, many years. And they're going to have so much club control on him for years to come. Oh, the Dodgers. The Dodgers have 2 players on this list in addition to all the good talent that they already have on the team. So let me know who you guys think is going to break out in 2021. There were some options I considered, like Eloy Jimenez, I think could have like an MVP type season. I was thinking about Miguel Sano because he has really high exit velocities. There's a lot of players you can put on this list. Kyle Schwarber's another one who looks amazing going into next season. So let me know what you guys think of this list, and if there's anything you would change, people you don't think are going to break out, things like that. Thanks again so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for some more MLB or MLB The Show content. And yeah, leave a like on this video. Maybe we'll do a part 2, or maybe we'll do some bounce back players. So thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.